My name is Jacob Hendricks, and my partner is Jill Hennessy, and we chose to do the dogs of the Dow theory for our efficient markets project, and whether or not the dogs of the Dow theory can in fact outperform the stock market. Little overview of this theory. It revolves around the top 10 companies that have the highest dividend yield percentage each year. The goal of this is to essentially beat the stock market or outperform the stock market. So investors will throw all of their money into these top 10 companies determined from the year before in order to cycle their money through for the next year based on the prior year's data. And this is done at the beginning of each year, usually in January, so that they are able to obtain and use the past year's data to invest their money. This fits into the walking at random theory and the loophole that it gives. So the walking at random theory suggests that stocks are completely unpredictable. They are random. There is no set path that they take, and they are different each year. So believing in this theory says that there is no true way to beat the stock market, or in other words, outperform it. But like I said, it does leave this small room for error in that a theory like the dogs of the Dow theory can come in where you can outperform the stock market, and that's what we're really looking to see if that can be done or not. So when we were doing research on this, we found an article called Dogs of the Dow Investment Strategy Application to the Euro Stoxx 50. It was written by Rita Farron and Mohammed Shahrouz, and in this article it summarized the findings of the dogs, so to speak, which is the top 10 companies in the Euro Stoxx 50 index, which is the European market. And it just found the top 10 companies in each year from 1991 to 2010. So these results that we found is that the dogs outperformed the stock market 65% of the time, which is a majority from 1991 to 2010. And this comes out to about 13 out of the 20 years. However, it is important to realize in some of these instances in the years that there are really close percentages or other outside events that can affect the results, that can fluctuate that 65%, or in our case, conducting an experiment where it will fluctuate the percentage that we got. So, for example, you have to look at the 2008 financial crisis where there were extremely low percentages that were found in our experiment as well as this experiment. So this is something that we wanted to take with us going forward. And next, Jill is going to talk about our methodology and the results that we got.
Thank you, Jacob. In continuing where Jacob left off, I'm going to talk a little bit about our methodology for repeating the experiment, the results that we reached after performing the experiment, a quick analysis, and finally a conclusion with the results that we learned from the experiment. To begin with the methodology, we started by choosing 30 years of data from 1986 to 2016, each year beginning on January 1st, to compare the dogs of the Dow versus the Dow Jones Industrial Averages. We chose this because we wanted to repeat the experiment that they chose in the article, but instead of using the Euro Stoxx 50, we related it to the Dow Jones Industrial. The reason that we chose the industry averages instead of choosing 10 random stocks each year was because that we thought that the industry averages were a more accurate representation of what was actually occurring in the stock market at the time. The results that we got from comparing the data showed that the dogs of the Dow average returns that were better by 3.71% over those 30 years. The dogs outperformed 14 out of the 30 years, which created a 46.67 outperformance rate. In analyzing those results, the 46.67 outperformance rate, you might think that the results disprove the data, since it outperformed less than 50% of the time, and in comparison to the article that we found, which outperformed 64% of the time, it was a much lower rate. However, it is important to take into consideration that there were very close percentages that could have altered the data, as well as the 2008 financial crisis, which indeed edited the data as well. So finally, after performing the methodology and researching the conclusions, we decided that our research does not necessarily validate or disprove the theory that the dogs of the Dow outperforms the market. However, we do think that it's not a bad investment to make. However, there's no guarantee what results you will get. It's not a very risky one because the dogs of the Dow typically do not perform very poorly, but it does not disprove the walking at random theory either. Thank you for listening to our presentation, and if you have any questions, feel free to follow up.